A new UN report on the global climate crisis has issued its starkest warning yet. The world is heating up faster than we feared, and it's undeniable that humans are directly responsible. And we are seeing that evidence everywhere, from the heat waves and droughts scorching much of North America and Europe to the floods hitting Turkey's northern coast. The UN says the climate crisis is a code red for humanity and warns that unless there's an immediate response, the world is likely to see a 1.5-degree increase in temperature within the next 20 years. That's at least 10 years earlier than previously predicted. The rise in temperatures will also likely fuel more wildfires around the globe. In the past month, uncontrolled forest fires have broken out across the Mediterranean, forcing thousands to flee their homes as the region faces its worst heat wave in nearly 3 decades. The UN report adds that the world is running out of time and that global cooperation is the only remedy. And to discuss what that cooperation could look like, joining me now from Feltre, Italy, is Carlo Barbante. He is the director of the Institute of Polar Sciences. And from Istanbul, Levent Kurnaz. He is the director of the Boğaziçi University Center for Climate Change and Policy Studies. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. Levent, UN climate change report has sounded a red code for humanity. What's your take on that report and where are we headed?
For the first time, this report is actually talking the language of the scientists. So far, they've been talking about all of the niceties of the world in the language of the politicians. Finally, I believe the politicians have agreed that the situation is very serious, and the way it sounds is actually really alarming. It's not just the red code of Mr. Gutierrez, and all of the report is full of very serious issues at the moment.
Carlo, how has the world's climate and our understanding of it has changed since the last report in 2013? I mean, how worse the situation got?
I think we confirmed a lot of what we knew already a few years ago with the AR5, but we improved our the error bar. We narrowed the error bar of our knowledge. So there is a lot of things that we know, especially that is unequivocal that human influence has warmed the atmosphere, the ocean, and land in a situation that we never had over the last 2,000 years. So that's certainly very important, and I think we have to keep knowledge of that and to think about our future that will be very warming.
Mm-hmm. So, Levent, if no measures are taken, what the world will look like in the next few decades, and what does climate disruptions mean, and what kind of impact it'll have on both the ecosystem and the humans?
Taking action and taking no action wouldn't make much difference in terms of the events that will be following us. But after 20 years, we will start seeing serious implications of the changes that will be happening. Like in Turkey and also in Italy and Greece, we are living in serious weather conditions which lead to all of these forest fires and also extreme weather events like flash floods in these countries.
Yeah.
And all of those will be growing immensely in the next 30 years or so.
Mm-hmm. So, as Carla, as just Levent mentioned, wildfires are simultaneously ranging in the Mediterranean basin, including countries like Greece, Italy, Spain, Turkey, and Algeria. And as we've just mentioned, Turkey's Black Sea has been experiencing those flash floods devastated the region. So, what should these countries do to be prepared for future risks? I mean, is it the time for Mediterranean countries to get together and find a regional climate change and risk response mechanisms, for example?
Well, there are a lot of things that we can do to adapt to climate change because, as said, I mean, the temperature increase of more than 1 degree since the last 150 years. So it is something that has given for granted, and unless there are immediate, rapid, and large-scale reduction in greenhouse gas emission, limiting the warming to close to 1.5 degree or 2 degree, will be beyond reach. So we have to take action. Of course, in the Mediterranean region, we are very vulnerable. We have seen fires in these days. We have seen flooding before, tremendous flooding in all the Mediterranean region. I think we need to take action immediately, and the cooperation in between Mediterranean countries will be a must in the future.
So the report said the Levant devastating impacts of global warming are now unavoidable, but there is still a short window to stop things from getting worse. What is needed the most? Can we talk about a global cooperation in this respect?
Basically, it's more personal than global cooperation because we all need to spend less on stuff and eat a lot less meat, travel a lot less, and there are no other governments who would do this for us. So every person for themselves should be preparing for a different future. And if you are not doing that, if we continue buying stuff as we are at the moment, and eating as we are, and traveling as we are, the solutions are not near. And if everyone in this whole world starts cooperating on that issue, meaning doing less of these things, then there might be a solution for all of us.
Okay, so Carla, how could cutting carbon emissions help reverse this dire situation, or is it irreversible already? And can carbon neutrality help better the current situation moving forward?
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of things we can do, and reducing carbon emission is the primary thing, so together with the right energetic transition. We have to arrive to carbon neutrality by 2050, which is not that far away, and that means that we have to halve our emission of actual emission of CO2 in 10 years from now, and then halving again in 2030 and 2040, and then arriving at carbon neutrality in 2050. It's something feasible, but we have to take action right now, and we have to keep in mind that every year count a lot. So there is a lot of things we can do from, as we have seen, from personal perspective, but also from a more political approach.
Yes,
that we certainly needed.
Yes, the EU has this ambitious plan to slash carbon emissions within a decade, but is it viable? I mean, unless other big players like China and the United States are on board, is this an attainable goal?
I think so. I mean, China is, with the new government, is doing a lot. They plan to reach carbon neutrality a little bit later than other countries, but they are committed. U.S. with the new president, they came back into the agreement, the Paris Agreement. So there are a lot of expectations, but now we have to move from theory to practice, and we have to take action right now.
So amid this crisis, Levent, where does Paris Agreement stand now?
Paris Agreement, in my frank opinion, is simply not an agreement. It's very simple, and even if you follow all of the rules of the Paris Agreement, there's going to be another 3.5 degree temperature increase. And that's very serious. I mean, if all of the countries fulfill their requirements, temperatures will increase by 3.5 degrees. And many countries will not be fulfilling their requirements, so the temperature increase will be upwards to 4 to 4.5 degrees.
Yes.
Therefore, we need much stricter rules than the Paris Agreement.
So could you, Carlo, explain what does 1.5 degree temperature rise mean for the world and for the humanity?
Means a lot. If you think about the ice melting in the polar region, for instance, especially in the Arctic, or in glaciers, non-polar glaciers like in the Alps or in Altai region on Himalaya, it is a lot. We are now melting ice, and the corresponding increase in sea level rise of about 4 millimeters per year. And for cities like Venice, where I work, or Istanbul, that make a huge difference, because in 100 years from now, we might have up to 40 centimeters of increased sea level. Together with this, we are experiencing, with 1.5 degree, we are experiencing extremization of events. That means heat waves in the atmosphere, heat waves also in the ocean, because the temperature of the ocean increased down to a depth of 700 meters. And we are also experiencing extreme events in terms of flooding and extreme precipitation. No more water, but all concentrated in a shorter period of time. And this caused recently flooding in Germany and Central Europe, or even in Italy. We had a lot of casualties because of flooding. Yeah. So that's why we have to suffer, I think, in the future.
So, Levent, where do you think Turkey stands in fighting this climate crisis, and are you hopeful about the future?
The governments and everyone in the whole world, actually, do not learn from scientists. And every time a major catastrophic event happens, then they start thinking about events. And this is the first time in Turkey, as you can see in all of these pictures, serious events are happening at the same time. And this lets our government to think about these issues and take the necessary precautions so that these things will not damage the infrastructure as much as they do, because there is nothing you can do to stop these events, but at least you can make the damage less. And yes, I believe they understood this point.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining us on Straight Talk.